Hey guys, Tech to Me here. So I just got the Amazon Echo Glow. This is Amazon's multicolor smart lamp that's plug and play and works with your existing ALEXA devices to create a cool vibe. In this video, I'm gonna get out of the box real quick. I will run through a full setup, go through some of the features and functions of the device, and if you stick around to the end of the video, I will even show you a cool routine where you can change the color of the bulb based on the weather. Let's go.
Oh boy, it's Tech Timmy time.
Alright, so in the interest of time, I went ahead and I took everything out of the box here. The box itself is very well done. I just wanted to call your attention to one little nugget here, which is interesting. So a couple things actually. So what's included, we have our Echo Glow and then our 5-watt power adapter. So that's a very small power draw. And what is most interesting to me here is it said compatible Echo device or the Alexa app. So you don't even need to have an Echo device in order to use this thing. So long as you just download the Alexa app, you'll also be able to use it with just the app. So that's kind of cool. Works on 2.4 gigahertz networks only. So when you set this up, make sure in your Wi-Fi settings that you're connected to your 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network, or else you can run into problems. And then, so it's 100 lumens, which is pretty bright. I think earlier versions of this were actually more dim. And so they solved that, and it does warm white and color, of course. But I did want to just really spend as much of this video as possible on the actual setup process itself, as I'm sure that's why you guys are here. And then so here is our power. This is a 5-watt power adapter and USB, type regular USB, and that just plugs in there like that. Simple as that. The cord already comes connected to the device, unlike some of the other devices, so I like that. And then so we have our power button presumably here in the back, and then on the bottom there's a little QR code here that I think they're going to want us to scan during setup, but we will look at that next. So let me grab my phone and we will set this up, plug it in and set it up using the ALEXA app. So let's do that now. All right, guys, so here we are back with the Echo Glow. I have it plugged in, it's lit up, and it's blinking an orange color, which essentially means that it's in setup mode. I actually ran into some issues when I tried to set this up initially for you guys, so I'm gonna let you know what happened there in the event that this might also impact you, and I think for many of you, it probably would. Amazon, in their attempt to be helpful, created this thing where if you have an existing smart home or an existing set of ALEXA devices, even if you just have one, it's going to try and auto detect the device. The problem is when it sets it up in the ALEXA app, it sets it up with this weird name called First Light. Now, I have many lights here that are smart and bulbs and everything else, so I just figured First Light was something old that I had done. So it took me forever to figure out that. I could either use First Light basically right out of the gate, or I would have, in order to do the full setup, I would have to delete it and then start again. So if you have something called First Light, basically just skip ahead to the part in this video where I have you rename the light to something more user-friendly, like, such as Echo Glow, for instance. Why Amazon didn't do that, I don't know. And then the other thing is, if you are going to do the full setup, I'm going to run through the full setup right now. So if you don't have First Light and or the ALEXA app is asking you to do the full setup, we're going to step through that process right now as well. So this is all new for 2026, and a lot of these other YouTube videos that do run through the setup do not cover this. So hopefully you guys find mine instead. All right, so full setup, let's actually walk through right now. I'm going to pull my phone out of the frame here, and I'll actually magically add a nice graphic here instead so that the quality is a little bit better for you guys. All right, so basically what we want to do here is we want to tap on the plus sign at the top of the ALEXA app, and then we want to say add device. So we're adding a new device. Now, we want to set this up as a light. And the brand of light would be Amazon Echo. Is your light powered on? Yes, it is. All right, I'm going to say yes. Now, find the setup code for your device. That is on the bottom of the device here. So you can either choose to scan this. Let's see if it will work. And you really need to get that right on frame in order for it to work. Yeah, so I'm running into problems doing it this way. So there's also the same thing is on the back of your documentation, and it's just cleaner this way here. All right, so it's looking for it, so that's a very good sign. So it says it's connecting, that is excellent news. And so Tatooine is my and so this is the code that I scanned on the back of the document if it didn't make it into the frame before. Now, so Tatooine is my 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network. That's also important to say that if you're doing the manual setup, you need to be on your 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network, not the 5 gigahertz one. Good news, we're now set up and the light turns to this interesting sort of white color, right? On the light itself, we have some tap controls. So if you tap the light, it'll change colors that way. So that's really cool, right? And you can just sort of cycle through the different colors. And then at the same time, you're going to have your voice controls as well. Let me show you the app. Let me show you the app first, and then we'll do some voice controls. But so the app, after you finish setting up, you can actually just do a quick test. Turn it off, turn it on by pressing that test button there. You say next. Where is your light? I'm going to skip this step for now. It doesn't really matter. If you want to assign it to a room, you can, because then you can say things like, turn off all the lights in my son's bedroom, whatever. So skip. Okay, now first light is not a good name for this, guys. I would just call it Echo Glow to keep it simple, but you could call it, if this is for one of your kids, you could say Johnny's Glow or Mary's Glow or whatever. I'm just gonna call mine Echo Glow. All right, and then I'm gonna say continue, and Echo Glow setup is completed. Hey, all right, so that's great news there. And now inside the app, first off, turn it off and on with that giant button up above there, just like we did a minute ago. Turn it back on. Now the brightness, and I'll dim the brightness way down because you guys will be able to see the colors better when it's dim. That's just the way, because of the video. All right, now this is, what color this? It's a nice little fuchsia, I guess. I'm colorblind, guys, so if I get any colors wrong, just call me out in the comments down below. In the app itself, you can adjust the brightness as I just showed you. We have all our different colors, so crimson, ooh, salmon. They got fancy with the color names here, didn't they? Orange, gold, sky blue, and then there's also these different modes that are basically like themes, I guess. So you could do one called campfire, and that's gonna have a little pulsing effect, and it should still cycle through the thing. Disco, if you want to get a little crazy and maybe have a little dance party or whatever. Yeah, so okay, and then you can also, if you have an overzealous child maybe or whatever that is just going crazy, like tapping the thing and it's getting annoying or whatever, you can actually just, I think they did that for this reason, you can turn off the tap thing completely if you want. Okay, so that's that. Now, the next thing that I want to show is, okay, with our friend, so I changed the wake word here to COUM, computer. Computer is the new name of this device, and we're going to test out our new Echo Glow computer. How does that sound?
Sounds like you're ready to test drive your new setup. I'm all ears, or should I say all circuits, and ready to roll as your new computer. What would you like to try out first?
Change Echo Glow to salmon. Hey, all right, and it worked. Change Echo Glow to blue. Change Echo Glow to blue. Computer, change Echo Glow to green. And then the brightness again, so if I lower the brightness down, actually, let's do that. Computer, adjust brightness to 100%. Computer, lower Echo Glow brightness to 5%. And now you should be able to see the more pronounced green. And that's just an artifact of the video, but the colors here are really, really nice and vibrant. And it does get super bright. I mean, the number of lumens in this thing is actually pretty impressive. Next, I think we should just set up last but not least, let's actually set up that routine. So this is really where the magic can happen here, and there's all kinds of routines that you can do. You can do a routine that slowly brings the light up in the morning to wake you up in a delicate manner, or slowly dims it down at night. You could set up timers for this, so if your kid's in timeout, say, and you want to, change the color to red. All right, and the easiest way to create that custom routine is just have ALEXA do it. If you do not have ALEXA Plus yet, you'll have to use the app to set this up, but by far the easiest way is to use your ALEXA device in order to do it. If you run into any issues whatsoever with this, drop a comment down below. I will do my best to get back to you with the exact steps that you need to do to set this up. But okay, computer, I would like to set up a routine for my Echo Glow. Can you help?
Absolutely. I'd love to help you set up a routine for your Echo Glow. What would you like your Echo Glow to do?
I would like it to change to blue if there is a chance of rain or snow in the forecast. Let's go with just rain for now.
Perfect. Let me set that up for you. Created a routine that runs every day at 8 a.m. and changes your Echo Glow to blue when there's more than a 20% chance of rain. View anytime in the routine section of the Alexa app. Would you like to run the routine now to make sure it works as you want?
Yes, please.
Here's your routine.
And there you go. So she changed it to blue. And just to kind of prove that out, I'm going to go under my routines. And then here we have our Echo Glow Rain Alert. And that's what the routine looks like. And I'm just going to say finish. She had already finished, so it's fully set up. And that's all you guys need to do in order to set up a routine.
Glad we got that Echo Glow.
And she's going to keep interrupting me, isn't she?
Now you'll always know when to grab an umbrella just by glancing at your Echo Glow's color.
And that's all you need to do to set up a routine with ALEXA. If you guys have any issues with setting up routines with any of these steps whatsoever, drop a comment down below. I will do my best to get back to you. And if you got any value from this video, if you wouldn't just mind smashing that like button, helps out the channel a lot. And please subscribe for a fun take on tech. I do all sorts of videos about ALEXA, like this one and the others. And YouTube thinks that you might like this video right here that I'm going to throw up on screen. So hope you'll check that out next, and we hope to see you in the next video. Cheers.